Sadakis, let's get into it.
We can do that. I think they're almost ready. It seems as though they are buying into the pistol round right now. So let's talk about that, shall we? Because yesterday we saw a couple teams on this map go for the double utility play and play the retake game on the A side for CT, but it's usually the standard play for Flipside to be a little bit more aggressive in their pistols. Right now, though, it looks like actually... Okay, so they are going to do that. It looked like Bondic didn't buy armor because I couldn't see with the live config on it, but they are going to do exactly that. So World Edit's going to be the only one with the kit. Meanwhile, on the other side, look how much execution the Brazilians want to go with. Only 2 sets of armor. That is extremely rare that we see this in a pistol round.
We can see, too, a lot of that utility is going to be sent directly over towards the A-bomb site. And he's throwing some of his over towards middle already here with bolts lining it up inside of A main, but they do keep the bomb just outside of the B halls there. But with an aggressive position here from Char, he might be able to catch some of this early on, enabling a much faster rotation.
Bondic's going to try and use that smoke inside the site to his advantage as well, but he's the only one close proximity. The rest are applying pressure onto B. So a lot of that utility, in fact, all of it now gone, was used to try and create a fake on the A site, which I don't agree with, because like we said, we know teams play the retake game on the A side, so no one's really left B. Bomb's already dropped on the way through. Finally, some kills getting back their way, though. Phelps gets 2. He finds a 3rd as well as Markelov goes down on top of the platform. Bolt's going to watch the vents. A little bit of an awkward exchange, but Blade's going to come out on top of that one. It brings it back to a 2 versus 2, but crucially, the bomb has but now been planted.
Bondic still rotating in, quickly getting himself just outside of Team Main, however, and Blade's ready to re-execute now. A good shot from Bondic moving back in, and now it's all down to Phelps, only 16 HP. It's going to be executed by Bondic. A good retake there from Flipside Tactics, and they're going to claim the pistol round here.
Yeah, well done by them. Again, I mean, they buy 3 sets of utility, use them all on the A site, which we know is usually a passive hold in the pistol round, and then walk into B, which has 3 players still inside of it. I'm not 100% behind that pistol strat on this map, but hey, they got a bomb down. That's at least some salvation in this, because now they can afford to just fully save in this particular round and go for early guns, which kind of interesting that we're seeing the double SMG buy from Flipside the result of this, but smartly they've left World Edit on just a pistol, so he's going to try and look to get an early AWP, and fortunately they have gone for the UMPs, knowing that armor and early guns might be possible. So I would imagine they're going to try and go for that bonus round in round number 3, where they hope to reset the economy on tempo really early.
The good news, too, with that pistol is that if one of the members of Flipside ends up going down to a 5-man push, then we could still see it being picked up by him, assuming he's able to rotate over in time. But right now, it's going to be a 3-for-1 trade. Bondic shutting down all of them. And there you have it. Bondic getting an ace in the second round. A pretty casual one, to be completely honest. And now the Flipside guys are going to be up 2-0.
Not bad for Bondi. It would have been nice to see if the SMGs get some money out of this, but this is the situation. So now they're going to keep these 2 SMGs. World Edit will buy into this. And it's going to be against an AWP on Henny. Or Hen1.
We're still debating this, I believe.
There is no debate. It's N1.
Is it?
Like an N1 mixtape, because he's so stylish.
Is that what we're going with? All right. N1. So for the guys on Flipside, again, still keep it to the pretty usual split now. Nothing out of the ordinary in terms of their CT setup, and Tempo Storm taking this as a slow play. This is going to be a very crucial round. They only have a very limited amount of utility to try and utilize a take onto one of these sites here. So they're going to be holding that back a little bit, but N1 already pushing his way on the boost position up through middle, getting a good amount of control here. Flipside really not restricting this at all. They're sticking to the sites, and that could be dangerous if Tempo Storm takes advantage of this.
Shara in a really desperate position, fortunately gets a smoke deployed behind him, so he wouldn't have been pinched in from Showtime. They still haven't committed to these vents. They still haven't broken them out, so he's going to sit with the SMG in a reasonable position. It's going to be a Galil from Lucas that looks to go against him first. They haven't committed, like you're saying. They're just sitting back right now. They're trying to figure out exactly what the opposition's up to. They've taken mid, so N1's made his way forward enough to try and pick down the highway, and they're just going to sit and try and utilize that to their best advantage. But World Edit's actually gone really passive. He's still in a good rotation position back towards CT.
It looks like it's going to eventually turn itself into a B execute here now, with the timer getting lower, just down to 40 seconds now. Players starting to rotate the bomb through the halls there, and also Phelps, the only other player lurking towards A, has just been dispatched by World Edit. So there we go, but they don't exactly know what the take is coming here yet, so it's going to need to be a fast rotation coming in from the side of Flipside. Now the guys from Tempo Storm, they've frozen though as they try to get themselves out through teammate and checkers. They're giving Flipside all this time to rotate in. I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to pull this off. Thankfully, Showtime picking up a first kill, but then Blade trading one out. Now you've got Char to hug on that side of the site. He's going to be able to find a kill before he's traded down. Markelov finding one of the bolts, and just like that, it's down to Lucas in a 3 versus 1. He's inside checkers trying to hold, but it's not going to be possible. And Flipside shut it down now 3-0 as they win the first gun round.
And again, they do that with the SMGs in hand. So they've upgraded the rifles. Thank you very much. That was completely free of charge. They build the economy with said SMGs, and they break the economy of tempo back down to a situation. Now, they are accumulating around lost bonus, so they're can level themselves with a force buy on Tech 9s to about $2,000 because they're going to get, in the next round, 2,400. Take that back. They're going to get more than that. They're going to get 2,900. I can't do math, Blue. But they're going to get enough that they're going to buy.
It's very early still. For us, anyway.
It's always early for me, Blue.
So Tempo Storm now, again, going for a pretty direct play on this save round. Same thing that we saw before on the second. As it just looks like they're going to be sending their players over here inside of the B-bomb site, trying to keep it a little bit suspicious early on, but as they go in, we see Shara holding off for 1 kill, but he's immediately traded out. Thereby Bolt's taking him down, managed to pick up 2 for 1. Blade moving back in there, quick response for him to take down Phelps, and World Edit shuts out N1. Now you're just looking at Bolt's left alive. No plant having happened as of yet either. Bolt's is kind of stuck in this corner. He's not really able to sneak out just as of yet. Looking to hold his own, try to do some damage to the economy, but not going to be possible. Bondic shuts him down, and Flipsid still holding a strong lead here.
So they'll have an AWP at their expense if they like to go for it on N1. But he's only at 5,100. So, okay, so he does go for the armor and AK this time rather than going glass cannon. And that gives them full utility. I want to see them slow this down a little bit. I didn't mind their first gun round where they tried to utilize that mid control that they had established. It was basically gifted to them. But the problem is they didn't complement it with anything. So eventually they didn't find the pick on A. They walked into B. And the split was a little bit haphazard, a little bit lazy, and kind of thrown together out of necessity. This time I want to see them try and get some control of A main, which it looks like they're already doing. And if they can find something at mid, or they can force a rotation, they have the smokes and Molotovs to clear out both quad and the fence. And then they can smoke off highway and walk in. But early smoke deployed from the CT slows that down slightly, but again, we've got the extra 10 seconds. We can sit back. We can let this happen. It's not a big deal. Phelps is going to try and get himself in a position as well to take advantage of that smoke as it dissolves.
Flipside also going to be putting a little bit more attention towards middle this time around when compared to the last gun round. They're going to be keeping World at it, placing himself just down over here inside of Z, waiting for players to push out towards middle, but it looks like Tempo Storm are starting to regroup towards the mid shed right now, and Smoke's getting ready to toss out in that direction. However, most of the players are shifting over to the back of the B site, so looking like it's going to be a take hitting over there pretty shortly.
They're not doing anything. So once again, we saw Bolts from the squeaky position throw out a Molotov to clear out behind the forklift. He didn't see anyone, and immediately after not getting that pick, they fell back and went to a different plan. They're not doing anything to try and force the issue right now. They're just relying on getting this pick and not finding it. So they're going to go for the wall of smokes B, but the smoke again for Shara means that he can actually disguise himself in it this time rather than turn back and cover out the fence. He's going to fight against Henny, who's going to get spotted out and taken down. This is already the start, but good response through the smoke. So now they've got a bit of a chance as they've got CT smoked off. It's World Edit with the AWP, gets found by Showtime as well.
Again, though, the play's been spotted very early on, so Flipside going to be given this time to rotate back in. Now it falls to Tempo Storm to find these pickups here. Thankful that flight from Bolt is going to be able to dispatch Blade. There you go, Tempo Storm, after the trades concede, will be picking up the round here in their favor. The first round coming onto the board, it's going to be 4-1.
Smart by Bolts, just sat back in mid, knew that the rotation would be coming in. They got enough picks on the entry, they didn't need him directly on top of the play. So that one works out. Again, watch the reset potential because this now puts a 4-round bonus by the wayside. Interestingly enough, they are quite limited still on the CT side, but they've got a decent buyout with the AWP on World Edit. Markelov limited to the UMP, but we know that's still viable, as per Flusha, as per Nico. But again, I want to see them try and do something more to get the early pick. They had enough utility that they could have expended a little bit more to clear out quad, as well as the forklift, and then you can actually start to lurk a little bit within the site. You can start to establish, or if you're going to clear out that forklift, put someone on the right side of A main so that after that Molotov goes away, no one can push forward. Because if I'm the CT and you're not going to watch that, and I see you've already cleared it, I'm going to take advantage of the position after so you overlook it. So still a little bit they could work on as Bondic is going to go back in behind the said quad position. So see if the Molotovs do fly into it this time as the smoke's already out. He's going to nade. He's not going to find... I said that, and then Phelps rotated back over.
They did pull World Edit off of Z2, so mid's going to be wide open again, just like we had a couple of rounds ago. If they want to try to move in there, they can definitely use it as an angle to take control of highway. Just now, though, rotating Blade down highway to hold better control of middle. But it doesn't look like, as of yet, anybody from Tempo Storm is going to want to risk moving it. But there's a good shot from World Edit. Picks up Phelps, who is peeking out from A main. They're shutting him down. Now the rest of the team is going to be forced to respond here very quickly. Some of the players are going to be moving out through mid. It's going to be Lucas along with N1 making the push through there. The bomb is going to be executing in through A main as they push towards it. Flipside haven't caught on to this as of yet. I think they actually believe it's going to be heading towards the B-bomb site with World Edit rotating over there. So you're going to be relying on mainly on Blade and Bondic to try and hold this. But they do have a nice crossfire set up. However, that highway pressure could rip to shreds.
And this is exactly it. They don't get any utility to dispel them this time, neither toward the forklift or in that quad position. And they do take advantage of that corner spot. It's going to be a team ace. Or rather a team wipe, not a team ace. Come on. Terminology is a little bit hard. Again, it's early in the morning, but Bondic is absolutely wrecking heads right now with Blade on that A site.
Just such a slow attempt at it, too, here from the side of Tempo Storm, and two of their guys actually don't even have any kills at this point.
One of which is N1. That's pretty nuts.
So, I mean, these takes are just so slow and lackluster, and they're giving Flipside all the time they need in almost every single gun round to rotate it appropriately. So when they even try to line up a strategy that could potentially work, Flipside are given, 10, 15 seconds to try and figure out a counter for it, and that's exactly what they did in that last round. They do the crossfire setup outside of A main, and then by the time the players had pushed up highway, they had already had them rotated in for the B-bomb site, so World that it could just rip them apart from truck.
So they're going to try and go for the waterfall play. 3 coming over top. World that it lags the first one. It's Phelps that goes down to 7 HP. That's one more than how many gold medals he won at a single Olympics, Blade. Or Blue. I don't even know what to call you anymore. Bondic and Blade, though, speaking of them, they're going to rotate back this time, go more passive in the A site, and they actually shut out that Napoleon play as they try and divide and conquer through the Z connector. Phelps still holds on, though, considering he's on the low HP. He does pick up 1 kill. That's 2 guns now dropped, and they actually get that one. Bolt pushes forward. A little bit of courage, but unfortunately Blade spots him coming back into mid.
They actually do juke Flipside pretty nicely here and manage to get themselves onto the B-bomb site. So going to be looking at a plan at least in this round. And this was for the most part a full save from the side of the Brazilians here. Phelps trying to let up one more angle against Markelov, and he's going to be able to take him down. Will be turned out by Blade in the open though, and now in that final gunfight there, it'll be Blade's favor. That takes down N1. They'll still grab the defuse, but not a bad run from Tempo Storm, dispatching 3 out of 5 of the members from Flipside, along with getting the plan here at the B-bomb site.
They are still keeping the economy fairly honest, but there's a buy in hand now on the CT side. In turn, though, it's built back up. I mean, this is the one thing. We always see these games that seem one-sided for the CTs, but it's so much easier to build back into an economic disadvantage when you're on the T side, because you can effectively buy almost every single round. Specifically, if you get bomb plants down, you definitely can. So they've got back into this one. It's a Galil on Showtime. Still, though, N1, 0 kills, and not able to bring out the AWP yet again this time. So that's a huge factor, because we know how much impact this guy does have.
One thing we haven't seen as yet from Tempo Storm is just an attempt at a straightforward play to get quick control of a site and then looking to try and win the round through the post-plant scenario there. They've been trying to play things very slowly. The problem is ultimately it becomes too slow of a play. Some crossbows going to be worked their way out here towards the A-bomb site to start this fake, but Flipside just going to continue to be aggressive here. You've got Bondic thinking about going inside of Squeaky. Changes his mind, though. I think he does spot the fact that there isn't really a big push coming out towards this, and now they still have that bomb stuck in middle, but they're going to start to make a push towards the B side as well.
Yeah, the bomb, if it were with them, this actually could be viable. If they find 1 pick on B right now, it's going to be such a late rotation. World Edit is going to find Phelps on the A site still, but Bolts needs to leave now. Bolts, go grab the bomb. The rest of your team is waiting for it. He still thinks Bondic is considering pushing him, but
look,
he needs to get out. He needs to rotate.
Flipside knows what's happening now. They're already starting to rotate over. They're thinking, okay, it's going to be coming to the B-bomb site. And now, Char, unfortunately, messing up that duel big time. So Showtime is going to be able to take down Char. They find control of Checkers, but still not moving into the B site correctly, and now they have to fall back and reconsider this.
I don't know what N1's doing at this point either, because he's the only one left with the smoke inside of the site. He needs to cover off CT. And he's actually going to go back and watch middle, not use that utility on the entry. Blade gets inside the vents, and now with Markelov and World Edit cleanly inside the site, and no utility to limit their options and their angles on this counter entry, it's going to be a lot harder. Not only that, they're buying time for Bondic to rotate in, so N1 should have got that smoke out much sooner. It finally goes down, but again, they're already inside of this site. They're going to know that now, though. Get Markelov, World Edit whiffs a shot with the AWP, and Lucas is able to put him in to the grave. Good find by Any as he does turn back. So he makes up for it, but his smoke should have gone down much earlier.
Strategically, like, Tempo Storm should not have won that round. Thankfully for the guys on Tempo Storm, they ended up winning most of their aim duels, and they were able to make up for that, but had Flipside have been on point, they absolutely should have shut down that push very, very easily there. So 6-2 now. Tempo Storm putting another round onto the board, but also is going to reset their losing bonus once again here. However, on the reverse side of that, Flipside are also basically going to be out of cash in this round, so if we can finally see Tempo Storm chain 2 together here, then they are going to be broken directly after this buy.
Now, N1. We're going with it, Blue. We're sticking to it. Never mind all the non-Brazilian people in Twitter yelling at us about his name. It's N1. But he's got the AWP finally, so this is a good start. Henny has a nicer sound, but apparently we were told.
I was told he doesn't care.
Well, if he doesn't care, we're going with Henny. Nicely done. Way to save us, Blue. But he's got the AWP, and he's going to watch over top of the drop this time. There's no one else trying to pursue mid-control at this point in time, so he'll just sit up on top of that box and await his moment. He's trying to peek white, which is actually correct, because that's where Blade's playing from. But he's not going to go that carelessly wide on his peek. That smoke might encourage it. Molotov will force him. Now they'll put the mid-control in with Lucas going through the wall. So they're trying to fake the wall to B. and take over Highway, but Blade wins that duel. That's one prong gone, and with Blade seeing a player on Highway, that pulls World Edit back because they know this is probably and very likely going to be A.
Bolt's picking up the first kill onto World Edit here. Showtime comboing into a second one on a Blade, and then Bondic falls. This is what I wanted to see from Tempo Storm. Quick plays, getting into the site after their initial intentions had been revealed, that it works out great. Not even a whole lot of utility used either to get themselves into this site to begin with. It is waltz right in there, look for those entries. Shara, though, still in this one, switching over to the pistol now, shutting down Henny, but they realize exactly where he's coming from for them there inside of A main. So they're going to be able to account for that. Scratch that, actually, as Shara takes down Bolt. He's going to be pushing out from A main. Showtime did find a trade on a Markelov, so it's just Shara left alive. He's in a 1 versus 2 with no utility, so Showtime shuts him down in his attempt to push outside of A main. Tempo Storm combo those two together. They're going to break Flipside's economy, and they themselves are going to have a good chance now to make a comeback.
I know what his name actually is.
What is it?
Hen 1 and 8.
Hey.
Like, it took you a minute.
It took me like way too long to figure that out.
But he's got his AWP still.
Thank you, cameraman, for pointing it out and making it even worse.
Thank you. Yeah, way to go. Way to go, either Sapphire or Kevin. I don't know which one it is, but this actually does start to force the economy. So this is what we're talking about. It's much easier for a Terror side to chip back into a game. And they've leveled the economy on the CT side at $2 grand. They're going to get 2,400 in the next round. So they'll be all right. But it does start to question the fact of whether or not they'll bring an AWP out. Blade would be able to drop one if that's the case. Only just, though. And it would be a glass cannon if he did. So we'll see if they can pull something else out of their bag of tricks, because the AWP has definitely been able to lock down certain areas. Although World Edit's kills aren't extremely high, he's only got 5. He has been anchoring the mid position quite well. So this time is going to go ahead and start it off. World Edit gets taken down. Speaking of, Markelov passive with the USP, won't be able to do much about this, especially with the smoke beside the red crate. And Lucas is going to try and get above that and just hold off of the truck.
Good, very passive clear of the A site there too. Even using the molly earlier on in that take to move Blade out of his forklift position was perfectly placed. So forces him to rush back out and hands that kill over to either Bolts or Henny. And now the final 3 obviously really can't do anything. They're just going to line up for exits here and hope they can get a good angle to line up a headshot with their USP. No utility, no armor, so not really worth trying to rush into the site and looking for a quick trade. So they'll just be sitting outside of it. Tempo Storm will have to be a little bit more cautious here as they're exiting the site and as they will claim their 4th round. There's one pickup there from Flipside, dropping Phelps at least, so that could be a gun in their favor. And a second one. Markelov picking up 2, and Bondic potentially with a 3rd here too. They have a nice crossfire going. So there's Bondic finding another kill. They pick up one of those AKs. They actually managed to scavenge 2 AKs from this play, so not bad at all when you consider what they had set up for themselves previously there. And that's going to actually save quite a bit of money now going into this next gun round. They only needed a single save since they went for the full save there. But now they're going to be saving quite a bit of cash here on 2 of their players. Not even going to have to rebuy the rifles, just the armor and utility.
So they get the AKs out of that. Blade, Markelov, and Bondic, which is reasonable considering how that went down. To be able to save so many weapons on the CT side when all they had was pistols is a massive boost in the economy that we talked about. They still don't go for the AWP. They are going to stick with the 5 rifles, but Shara's going to get aggressive right now and toward the checker room. He's below the vents. We've actually seen him here a number of times, but there hasn't been that much pressure applied, so it's not like they figured this out. Meanwhile, this is the fake, as Blade and Bondic once more are going to shut it down. Now Shara pops out, and they do nothing to clear it. They don't even expect it, because once more, there hasn't been the smoke deployed that time, and they've never really spotted him. He's also burrowed back in the site. This is a really, really good start from Flipside.
Yeah, they're just shutting this down, kill after kill here. And he's the last one alive, or N1 is the last player left alive. Managed to pick up 1 frag, shut down Shara, but they already know where he is. It's not like he really can run around anywhere here. He's going to try to retreat himself outside of checkers a little bit, but he's slowly being boxed in. Pushing him in a second here. We're probably going to have Bondic taking the duel. And there we go. He does connect the leg shot, so a bit unfortunate he doesn't find that kill, but N1's still going to get shut down. And then these B pushes that Tempo Storm keep going for, actually, you really have to give credit to Shar with this aggressive positioning that he keeps going for, pushing the back B halls. It's working out great because he always spots these plays super early. And unfortunately, Tempo Storm aren't really being very innovative to when they're caught out with their pants down. They don't try to change up the strat at all. They don't try to re-rotate anywhere. They still go forward with it, despite the fact that they've been scouted. And Shar has been the key to scouting all of these B pushes round after round, as they've tried it many times now.
So Lucas and Showtime this time are going to play by themselves over toward B and try and get the fake moving the other direction. There's already the key smokes, the default smokes from the CT applied at both the mid garage and the main garage door. But we haven't seen them flash through yet. That's one thing we haven't seen on this A side. They haven't really needed to, though, because look how well Bondic and Blade have been playing off of each other. Again, we haven't seen the utilities necessarily. We saw one Molotov at best toward the quad, so they've been able to find these good positions. And then the one round where they went close to the box, no one checks it, so they're mixing it up just enough, and there's a lack of synergy on the tempo side where all 5 players are on one site and they do a direct hit that they aren't being punished for their positioning, so they haven't really needed to take the issue on the A site.
So it's back to the very slow play from Tempo Storm, just sitting back and waiting for those picks. This has not necessarily worked too well for them in the past here. But when they have tried to be much more direct with their takes, they have been able to get good control and then work things from the post play, but we haven't seen a continued spree of that kind of play. So unfortunately, Flipside has been given many chances just to bounce back and win the rounds as we see now, and they're still holding a very good lead. +3 advantage in their favor here. On the initial push, Lucas picking up that first kill through the mid garage, shuts down Blade, and that was a good flash too to sort of distract from the issue. It was tossed over Boost, so maybe he thought it was going to be coming from Boost there. Blade shut down, and now Tempo Storm have the initiative to get themselves in. That was actually a great shot from Bolts. Just swipes away World at it, and now the push begins.
And it's a self-flash in. This is the first time they've done it. Look how quickly it catches them off. A little bit careless by Bondic to switch to the nade that quickly, so Showtime will make up for it. They'll re-grab the bomb, but that could have thwarted all plans. Good position from Lucas on highway. Even if Phelps spots toward the truck position, he'll be in prime location to try and run down through the Z connector. If he had gone a little bit sooner, he would have cut them off. Now they'll get the save. But it's another bomb plant and another round going to Tempo Storm, so once again, they're just clawing in late into these rounds, and that time the execution was a little bit slower, but far more convincing, I have to say. A lot more dedication on the A site that time.
Tempo Storm are going to go hunting here too, because if they drop, I'd say at least one of these rifles, going for a force buy in the next round may not be the best option for Flipside, but if they manage to keep both of them, they still have enough cash left on 2, maybe even 3 of their players to be able to afford the rest of those rifles. So they're still going to be looking at a very competent buy in the next round. But Lucas dropping down, Markolov's going to be able to dispatch of him, still sitting in the back of Checkers over here, but the rest of Tempo Storm, they might just be a little bit too far away. They're trying to push in to get angles against these players, but they can't really find them. Showtime gets lit up. As we can see, Phelps cannot find Markolov, so both those rifles are going to be saved. They drop an extra one from Tempo Storm at the end of the round, and we are going to see the remaining players on Flipside that have enough cash to do so go for the force up.
Bondic in his customary sit as close to the monitor as possible position. But it is going to be an op on either side once more. Bolts already clearing off with the Molotov and then smoke towards Z connector. Most of mid, just like that. Anyone pushing up would have been found out. Good flash, though, does come down from highway, means Lucas can't pursue all the way through the vents as he wanted to. And as he not busted out the second, Shara got in a position where he knew he was inside of him. He knew he'd burrowed within, and he turns back to take that kill. That shuts down the initial mid presence that Tempo Storm did want. Phelps is going to stay there. Henny's now dropped over. And they're going to try an A-split with highway as their main access point, but World Edit's already inside of A. Remember, he has the AWP. He's already spotted Henny. And now they'll just re-smoke out on A. This buys a lot more time.
Yeah, so Tempo Storm going to have to hold back here for a few more moments. They're still trying to get themselves out to this site, I imagine, before the rotate comes in. However, Flipside are still holding back. Now they've spotted the pressure coming up through highway, though, so they should start to move their players off of the B site here at any moment. They've only got Hen1 or N1 to make his push up highway here, and World did it with another great shot. Takes down Bolts inside of A main. So now it's just down to 2. Again, too slow from Tempo Storm, not putting enough pressure on Flipside, so they can just hold to the default positions. There's no flashes or anything to blind these players on Flipside, so they're free to just pick these players off.
So once again, plans foiled. Flipside with a good read in this round. Money not great on the terrorist side. Not great on either side, but obviously it looks like Flipside's in the driver's seat in this round. If they can keep all 5 up as well, that'll give them a bye in round 15 regardless.
And this is just going to be a save attempt, it looks like, from Tempo Storm, not even trying to push for the bomb site and didn't drop themselves so they get the losing bonus. They want to try and stick themselves alive. So Flipside, again, Shara, that aggressive position on B, just sitting back over here now. Doesn't look like he's going to be pushing.
In this case, by the way, saving the guns and not getting the lowest bonus is far worth it because the guns are worth more than the lost bonus in this case.
Of course.
They're only going to get 2 rounds worth. In fact, they're only going to get 1 round's worth, excuse me, so the 1,400 is far less than an AWP.
And again, with that considered, the other 2 here, Phelps and Lucas, should still be sitting on enough to go for another buy up into this next round. Bolts a little bit lower, probably going to go for a Tech 9 buy, and actually most of these guys, it looks like even Lucas is just going to go for a Tech 9 buy to add some extra utility to his buy. Phelps, though, will be re-upgrading to a Galil. However, Flipside are sitting in a much better position now.
Lucas actually bought the Galil and threw it to Phelps so he could afford utility as well. So that was his decision. So they've actually elected to get Phelps with the firepower. As Lucas sitting a little bit lower on the scoreboard, whether that's confidence or support role play. I'm not 100% sure, Blue, but I like the team coordination. Now if we could just see a nice coordinated push rather than these fake strats that they've been trying to execute. It's been not necessarily working out. This time there's a 3-stack on the B site right now from Tempo Storm, and Lucas and Showtime once again are going to work together in cahoots to try and figure this out. They're the ones applying the pressure. If they can get an early read on this, that the AWP is on B, then that means Bolts, Henny, and Phelps have a good chance to try and execute on A.
Storm still sitting back, though, not revealing themselves just as if you had 2 players positioned inside of the sunroom there. Maybe getting ready to try and throw some pressure over towards the B bomb site, but you still, as this entire half has been going so far, you still have Shara sitting in this aggressive position. World Edit, though, going to meet himself with a little bit of combat there as he's dropped down to 30 HP, getting himself into a battle through T-Main. They have not caught Shara again. However, they should definitely expect him to be here with him consistently playing this position in almost every single round so far. Now the bomb, though, going to be coming in through the vent, so they're going to add some pressure to the speed push.
But they got no information. This is just going into B for the sake of it at this point in time. They still don't know there's 3 players already inside of this, so an early commitment from Tempo. Bolts is going to lurk on A now and realize, wait a minute, guys, they're all gone. Why are we already in? Well, too late. You're through the vents. Time to go. As Markelov's on the back of the site. Shara hugging the corner. Blade with the first skill. That's on the lurk, but now Shara comes into play. It's a trade, though, and well done for Lucas to sacrifice himself. Allows Showtime to get the refrag, and now they have to get World Edit in a better position up toward Heaven.
World Edit taking that first shot there on a Phelps, trying to finish him off through the boxes, but cannot find the mark. So it looks like he's going to be keeping himself alive for the time being. And Blade sneaking his way and managing to get past Showtime. But can't find Phelps, thankfully, pushing him out of cover at the very least. So World Edit can finish him off, but now still working the 1 versus 2. World Edit's down very low. That doesn't matter for him, though. He's going to be able to shut down Showtime. Blade pushing in, tapping the bomb. It's him versus N1, and N1's been tapped now. He's down to 15 HP. Still has to play for the bomb itself, and Blade might just have to stick it here in a moment. He's forced him back into checkers, but nicely done there by Blade. Watching for the peek from N1, catches him. There's still plenty of time left to defuse that bomb. Flipsid are again going to pick things up here on the CT side. They'll be looking at a 9-5 scoreline heading into the final round.
A 2v3 retake when they had decent position. That really shouldn't have happened at all, but World Edit able to get himself in a good position on Heaven early. He was actually inside the site and elected to rotate back and get above because once they'd lost Markelov, he was playing the retake game, was waiting for the rotations. I'm still shocked that that was able to go down in that fashion because now Tempo Storm, they're forced back to just Tech 9s. Guns are brought up fully on Flipside's CT last round of the first half, and this means they can go 10-5, which makes things a little bit difficult.
The craziest thing about this, too, is Tempo Storm seems so unsure of their strats here on this T side, but this is their map pick, if I remember correctly. This is where they wanted to play this, but there's just almost a complete lack of confidence on this T side right now, and they're going to go for a much faster execute this time, but already Phelps going down. He gets a little bit over-aggressive, so Lucas is able to take him down on his secondary peak, but take a look at this now. Bondic literally standing directly next to 2 of these players. They cannot find him in the smoke. He's going to push through, and now, oh, thank goodness for Lucas. He saves his life, but then World Edit just rolls right in and shuts down Bolts and Showtime. Now working with a 3v2, and World Edit and Markelov finish it off. Flipside will end the half 10-5, a huge advantage in their favor coming off the CT half.
I just got an aneurysm. Oh my god. How does 3 people behind quad not watch that position? You've already cleared the guy, Bondic, that came through the smoke in the flank. Lucas did a really good job of that. And suddenly with 1 player pushing toward forklift, all 3 turn back. And no one considers the possibility for World Edit to push through with the Blade or World Edit, I don't remember, with the 5-7. Regardless, that shouldn't happen. That should have been a bomb plant. Finally, I was about to commend them for saying, good, they went fast, they went quick, and they're going to get a plant out of this, but that was just a lack of communication and a little bit too much panic in behind the quad position.
That seemed to be the entire half for Tempo Storm, if I'm completely honest. It's just panicking, insecurity in what they wanted to push for in their strats, and just, like I said, just bad intel throughout the entire half. They're pushing in. Shara played that forward B position every single round almost. And almost every single round, he picked up at least a trade kill from that spot too. And he spotted the pushes when they were going to be direct plays.
I like their approach on what Shara did, though, because every time he did push it, you normally think, okay, it's going to be a pinch play. So even if the guy goes in vents, they Molotov it out. The guy toward the sunroom or toxic catches him on the drop. They get out, they lurk. But by putting that smoke out toward the boxes, it meant Shara had the freedom of movement. Yeah. He only had to worry about one of those approaches. It was actually quite clever. They never really figured it out, though. And you would think with that many rounds into the half, they would eventually start default mollying that box and just saying, all right, if he's not at the box, he's going to be in the vents, bust out and take him down with a trade, send 2 through. Because all they really needed on that entry on B was 1 trade in most rounds. I think they stacked it twice. Great. It was the AWP from World Edit. But if they get the trade when there's only 2 in the site, they get a plant every time.
It's also one thing that constantly ended up happening, or the one thing that happened a few times, I should say, too, is when they actually did manage to molly him out or force him back onto the site for whatever reason, if they got that into a big gunfight, Chara would actually be much, much less effective there and would oftentimes go down without finding a single kill. When they got into those big gunfights and when they could force them, they were much better off, but we just never saw that. Flipside played it too slow. They basically gave the guy, or apologies, Tempo Storm played it too slow, and they gave the guys on Flipside all the time in the world they needed to just counter them out completely, set up crossfires, everything that they wanted. But now we go into the second half, and Flipside are about to execute here on the A-bomb site. Nice nade stack going back over there towards quad. Takes down N1 already, and they already get full control of the site. Tempo Storm going to have to play for more of a retake, rotating 2 of their players over from B. But they need to set up very fast. The Flipside already have the bomb down, and that's still an even 4-on-4.
Really good positioning from World Edit to try and get the position to catch the wide push through the smoke, but in turn goes down to Bolts. That starts off the retake, but he was traded. Phelps down to Bondic. And again, Markelov going to push up and try and take advantage. Gap in the smoke. He sees the first one. He knows the second one's gone through as well. That calls for the retake and rotation from Shara, but it's World Edit that's going to get both. Now 11-5 momentum firmly in Flipside's hands.
Tempo Storm to have to force up here now. They can't afford to play the more passive eyes we've been seeing a lot of North American teams adopt recently. Thankfully for Tempo Storm, I think they're one of the teams that hasn't really gone for this sort of thing as of yet. So we're going to see the upgraded pistols along with armor sitting behind it. Lucas even going so far as to buy the Deagle with the armor behind it too. And one, of course, needing to save a little bit more for the op on the first gun run when we get towards it. But Phelps are going to invest in the scout. So they need to try and stop this here. Otherwise, Flipside is going to be getting a huge advantage, and it may just be impossible to come back from it here on this map.
And a lot of A pressure. They're just going to try and slow play this A site. No fakes required. Not taking the tempo approach. Bondic already making it underneath the forklift is going to cover off toward the truck. Flashed off, but sprays nonetheless. One player on the site. They find him. Annie down already. Shara. He'll follow off on Lucas. Phelps gets 1 kill back. A little bit of economic damage if they wanted to, but as we can already see, World Edit electing to save. He's actually picked up the rifle that was dropped, but save for a Tech 9. He's trying to build that economy. We know the game he's trying to play.
Yeah, and Phelps with the scout too doesn't necessarily want to place himself in a riskier situation to lose that big gun. They can still use this on the next round. And then Showtime rotating his position around here. Just going to look for some exits here on the Flipside players. Hope they take down a couple of these guys, maybe drop 1 or 2 more rifles.
And he's actually playing a really passive exit game. Like you're saying, he's looking for the exits, but he's actually looking for the people that are hunting because he himself has a 5.7 in armor, which they're not going to be able to buy anything in the next round if they want utility when the guns do come out. So he can't get really close to the choke points, but Phelps getting that first kill, I think that'll be Flipside saying, not worth it, let's just sit back. And they do lose 1 Galil out of that as well. It's World Edit that goes down, who did have armor, and it is significant that he's the one to lose it because, again, he's trying to save and play the long game for the AWP. So he could actually afford an AWP right now. But now he's rebought into the armor. And, okay, smart. He's going to save for the pistol and try and get it out in the next round when the guns do come up.
So for Tempo Storm's side now, just going to take this round. It's very, very light. We'll see what kind of a stock they go for because they actually did something quite interesting in the last round that almost could have worked out if they had reacted to the A push a little bit more proactively. They kind of stacked themselves over towards highway, ready to rotate towards either side or even hold off mid-pressure if they're able to. And they're going to do something similar this time, mainly only placing Showtime inside of B. And he's going to put himself in that same position Char was playing for most of the last half. But Tempo Storm get a little bit spooked here early on in the round, shifting a lot of their presence closer towards A, when in reality, more than likely, Flipside are going to make this a B push.
Bondic already boosted. Awaits the call from teammates. Blade going to work with him through the main entrance onto mid, but as we're watching Shara, he's already looking for the split. So Showtime's the one playing that position he was in the last game. No smoke. See, now he's got both sides to worry about. That's the difference as Showtime gets found out from that UMP. Bolt's going to rotate back around. Phelps already on Heaven, but Blade's inside of the site and smokes on the 2 corresponding choke points. Bit of a gap in this one, though. Phelps actually has an advantage in this case, but they're going to cross over below him rather than far away, and that means the bomb will be planted here inevitably, and he's on the flank.
Phelps finding at least 1 pickup there on towards Blade to eliminate him.
I was going to say 1 player low on HP, but Bondic smart. He gets himself way out of dodge.
And with Henny now backing up a little bit here, they are going to cede the round to the players on flip side. Shar finding Henny, or Hen1, on his way out towards middle there. Not going to give him any chance at all to react, and Phelps now waiting for World Edit to cross over here. Actually, manages to swipe him away, trading things out to get the better gun, and he is going to be pressured in a second here by Shar now, getting him into the duel, but a great pop flash rolling out there from Phelps. Not managing to finish him off, though, and with him at 37 HP, he's got to be careful, but Shara will actually end up winning that final duel there, so no gun saved at all here from Tempo Storm, heading into the gun round, possibly even one of the last gun rounds we may be seeing here. Flipside shut this down, and Flipside off to a hot start in the second half and looking good to control their lead, possibly controlling the first map here as well.
So World Edit straight to that AWP as expected, as he was planning economically. A FAMA spot for Showtime. The rest do get M4s out, but there's only one kit and scarce utility. They've got three Molotovs, actually. Take that back. Phelps has one as well, but smokes are light, the rest on flashes. And this boost, all right, we're going to see it. Tempo Storm, let's show me your cleverness. World Edit's already watching it. Bye-bye, Lucas. Nice try, as World Edit saw that one coming a mile away. And Shara's going to walk in. That's got to be so frustrating for Tempo Storm, who thought they were going to be clever. And there you go. There's the one pick on B. Site's theirs.
The bomb's moving it a little bit slower, but with how passive Tempo Storm have been playing it, I don't really think that they're actually going to be aggressive enough to try and stop this from happening. They're just sitting outside of the site right now. Nobody even really attempting to put themselves at an angle to where they could pick players off on the platform up towards Heaven. Bolts is still sitting back down the ramp right now. Phelps pretty far away from CT main. He's up on top of the boxes trying to find something over top of that smoke, but there's really no angles to see from that position. And not only this too, but N1 has already completely given up on this. He's fallen back. It's going to be a save from Tempo Storm, obviously, but N1's completely away from the battle. He's put himself inside of the squeaky room and is going to be waiting for players moving out to hunt him.
Back from Blade, does find Phelps waiting, and now Bolts and Henny are going to have to save weapons. Bolts will smartly catch off Blade. Can't necessarily go toward the CT. He can go into CT spawn, which he does. Okay, that's smart. I was going to say, he can't necessarily go toward the truck. It's a long corridor. He'll be spotted by anyone exiting from the B site, but Markelov has an inkling as to where he is. All right, good luck with the penetration of that UMP, my friend.
That would be a
I like the thought.
Pretty long shot. Try and connect from there. So Flipside up to 14 rounds, and this is getting extremely dangerous now. Tempo Storm actually just going to choose to force up here as well instead of saving up one more and trying to get tested on the last one, which is obviously a smarter decision. 10 rounds perfect in a row is a lot harder to pull out than the 9 rounds here, and you still have one sort of one sort of upset that you can work against here with Flipside getting themselves up to 15 rounds. But if they drop it here, they're again going to be completely out of cash as far as what they can buy. They'll have the full losing bonus, so we can still see some of those rifles being brought back into the next round, but if they can't stop it here, then what are the odds they're going to be able to stop it in that next round as well?
Markelov toward the squeaky door, spraying through once more, trying to use penetration from the UMP, but why not? Henny boost inside A main. They're trying to see above the smoke, and Henny was toward the slide, but the flash comes through. That discourages them. They fall back. Chance for a push on that as well. That's why the door position from Markelov became crucial and was opened, because if anyone flashed in, he has to catch someone. They retreat back into the site.
And now we can see Flipside starting to get ready to make this push over towards the A-bomb site. Bolts with a good initial hold here, shutting down Bondic as the smoke plumes, and N1 ready for this push. World Edit did sneak through with one kill on towards Showtime, but now Flipside Tactics are going to be a little bit more hesitant with their push in itself. Shara taking down Lucas was attempting to flank these players, but they're stalled. They can't actually get themselves up to the site itself, and Shara is very low, down at 12 HP. They still have to deal with N1 on the site itself here. Phelps sneaking through with another kill into Markelov, so now we can see it pushing forward. World Edit finding another pickup in his team's favor to shut down Bolts. Down to a 2 versus 2 now, but still no bomb plant. They still have N1 on that site. Someone has to take that duel, and they can't really boost up on top of Red Box. They might be able to do it now, but nice spot by World Edit. He saw Phelps and upper, knew he was going to drop down, shuts him down, and then clutches out the round. World Edit might have just won the game for Flipside off of that.
World Edit has been sick in this game, I have to say. He's been reading everything very well on this T side. And it's not even that he's forcing the issue, it's that he's reading the play. He's finding himself in stationary spots on the T side that's allowing him to just sit as the turret. That's normally the CT side ops role. And I have to say, we've called him out in the past. About a year ago, I thought he was going to be the rising star in this team. He kind of faded away behind Simple, and he's never found his form since. But in this game, definitely stepping up.
So Tempo Storm, a desperation play now. Like we were mentioning before, we're going to be forcing up again into this round. Very, very loud utility on quite a few of their players. N1, Phelps, Bolts, and Lucas really not able to bring that much to the table. And even Showtime only has smokes and flashbangs here. They do have an op sitting on N1, but it's a glass cannon buy. He's got no armor behind it. So has to play from very, very passive positions. Blade already shutting down Phelps, one of these players. Shar going to start to sneak closer to the B-bomb site as Flipside Tactics take more and more control of middle there. Bondic taking down N1 in mid. Does take a lot of damage from down to 9 HP, but still holding full control of this. There's World Edit with another pickup on his Showtime. There we go. Lucas goes down out in the open on the B-bomb, so they just have Bolts left alive. This is over. Flipside are going to be taking control of map number 1.
And they go to Train next, and as Duncan already said on the desk, it's not a great map for the Brazilians. So Flipsider going to take map 1 and a chance to try and qualify for the $1 million major. The dream of having 2 Brazilian teams becomes a lot more grim at this point in time.
And obviously a huge performance in that matchup there from Blade, World Edit, actually Shara as well, specifically in the first half. which is a pretty surprising thing to see considering in a lot of these matches here at the qualifier, he's been down at the bottom of the scoreboard, really lagging behind the rest of his teammates. So a big performance from him to step up for Flipside here and make sure they're going to be able to win this best of 3, hopefully, to push them onwards to the Major LAN.
Absolutely, and like we said, we go to Train next. It's definitely another tactical map. It does favor post-plant positions, but also execution. In some senses, I almost feel like it could favor the Brazilians more, but they have to play with a faster pace. But we know they don't play it, so
yeah.
That's a theory crafting idea. Like you would think that it would have a stylistic play that would favor them, but the way Flipside's playing right now and the way they controlled that game, I mean, there was a chance with the economy starting to get a little bit grim in the first half, but the way they controlled that second half as well, I don't see the Brazilians being successful. But time to talk to people who aren't dressed like an 11-year-old boy. We're going to send it down to the desk with Richard.
Good lord.
Was he talking about himself? Does that bow tie
I don't know. There's a few 11-year-olds that are kind of tall that might fit a nice suit. A little bit of paisley there.
That's what I've been told.
This isn't paisley.
But they wouldn't have the nice beard. Listen, man, I'm colorblind. I don't know what you've got going on.
Paisley's a pattern. It's not
Moses,
even a color.
I don't think about your
You've
clothes
been
when I look
dropping this
at
in
you.
a lot lately that you're colourblind. Is this a work?
When I look at Moses, I don't think about his clothes.
Yeah.
I'm mentally undressing him.
Right. Anyway.
There you go.
Made this much more comfortable.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what wasn't comfortable. Watching Tempo Storm. I brought it back. That is the most lackluster, flat performance I've seen from Tempo Storm. Made all the worse by the fact that it was actually meant to be their map. And it didn't look like it at all. Didn't look like they had any tactics going on. And of course, you know, big name players, N1 in particular, missing. Absent without leave. So what did you make of that, boys?
I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it. The stars for Tempo Storm were just missing that whole game. N1 never actually got into the game whatsoever. He had no impact. I think what was it? Helium said that that towards the end of that match, him and Lucas had like 34 and like 36 ADR at like one of the last like 3 rounds.
They combined for 10 kills.
So it's not even the kills. It's just the damage being dealt. They're having no impact. They're not getting themselves involved in the game. And Flipside looked ridiculous. They outcalled them. They outfragged them. They beat them in every stage of the game.
You know when you do that comment where you say, if you were to take these two guys together and put them together, they make a pretty good player. Actually, if you took those two players, put them together, that would still be a terrible performance for anyone having 10 kills. Yeah. Now, obviously, N1, again, he had the AWP all the time, but really,
from round 2.
Really lackluster performance.
Yeah, he did. We mentioned it. He did have the op in round 3.
Round 3,
round 3. Force buy. And nothing came of it. And then I feel like he got so beat up throughout the half. I mean, Flipside just kind of put him in his place a little bit. Towards the end, you could see when he had the op, he was playing it so passive. He didn't want to take his peaks.
Yeah.
He didn't want to find it. He didn't want
even
to take
in post-plant scenarios.
It came down to a 3-on-2 post-plant at the B bomb site, and he had 100 health. He hadn't taken a shot of his op yet, and he was playing in checkers, and just never really felt like he could get into it. It's not just him, but like just highlight that bad of a game.
Yeah, and we've got a round that kind of demonstrates just how Tempo Storm weren't really able to, get onto the sites. Here we have, it's a Tech 9 force buy. They've got a Galil in there, and they're just trying to push out. Well, they get onto the site here, and Flipside, this should be a win for Tempo Storm. They've done the hard part. They're out there in the smoke, and you can just see from here, it's just absolute carnage. Like just. World Edit just wrecking
World
them
Edit
with a
really
pistol.
showed up N1 as well. I mean,
Yeah.
When you talk about hype, the hype for World Edit died like a year ago. Like he was considered a good player then, but he never evolved to the elite level. Here's the thing, that's the point. Against elite level teams, World Edit isn't a monster. You know what? Against these lower level teams, World Edit's doing absolutely fine. He's in his element. He's thriving. That's why you never try to overhype people before they've had enough lands. So for people like Kusta, people like N1, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months, maybe they'll be there. Maybe they'll finally have arrived as legit players who get it done every time. But at the moment, we're seeing problems here at the lower level.
I mean, is there any factor you can sort of pinpoint as to why Tempo Storm don't look like they did on the online qualifiers, I should say, rather, before they got here? Because everyone was really thinking this could be like the surprise package, a team that's going to do damage. But I think they could already be out of this series.
Yeah, I mean, I predict them to get out of this group, and I think they've just got to. That's a map that they need to just wipe out of their memories. They need to have that short-term memory, just forget about it for now, move on to the next map. What they did wrong on Cash is their executes. They weren't very aggressive towards the bomb site. They'd execute. You even saw there, 3 members huddled up by quad, not even able to get into the site, not swarming, not pushing forward on the B bomb site. They'd execute. They'd come out, they'd take battles, but it would take so long for them to actually take over the bomb site that the rotations would all come in from Flipside. They just need to be much, much more aggressive when they're taking these sites.
Duncan?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just very lackluster. Like, normally, here's the thing about Brazilian Counter-Strike. Famously, they're really slow to execute. That was the thing always about Luminosity. You can actually even go back to old MIBR. The idea was they wait until 30 seconds. But that's the thing, they're not a slow team. So what happens is at the 30 seconds, they then always do a rush. That was the old style of play. So they always would have a very up-tempo game. Whereas actually, in this particular scenario, they were just trying to walk in and
and you could tell certain people were not on their game. And one thing I hate in international Counter-Strike is I don't mind the person who's willing to have like a terrible game, but they go for their shots and they just miss them and they don't play well. Because that's like, okay, I didn't play well, that's acceptable. You never take yourself out the game though.
Yeah.
You never go, right, I'm not playing well, so I'm just gonna go over here and try and play passively and safe and hope my teammates who aren't used to this scenario where I'm not performing, they just carry me to the victory. I really don't
But we
like
saw
that
that with
approach.
Simple, you know,
Yeah.
the other day. Good example.
And the problem is, especially unfortunately in the case of N1, because he's like an in-game leader figure. Now, supposedly the coach also calls a lot of things. It's like some sort of split duty between them. But if you're the in-game leader especially, and you're the primary AWP, and you're putting the AWP in your hands all the time, that's like you're saying, give me the ball. Like, it's my shot.
Yeah.
If you don't take it at that point in time, you've got to take the
You
criticism.
miss 100% of the shots you don't take, then.
Michael Scott. 2012 or something. Anyway, so
Quick game,
reference
incredibly
game,
on
incredibly
point.
So here's the thing. That was supposed to be Tempo Storm's map. That's a map that's not even a Flipside map at the moment. I'll say that, by the way, because when they used to have the old Simple lineup, actually this is a map that used to be pretty decent on. They used to play this quite well, and they were famously good on the CT side. But that was Tempo Storm's map. It went really, really badly for them. Flipside looked solid all the way through. They looked nice on CT side. T side was very good. They had a bunch of flashes, smokes. They had all the little tricks you'd want, actually. So if that's on a map they don't have going for them, you've got to give credit to Blade for preparing his guys, and I'm feeling very confident about this second map, maybe even just a 2-0 closeout now.
It could be. Well, we'll be talking about that in just a moment. We're going to go to a short commercial break, about 5 minutes. When we come back, we're going to be discussing the second map in the series between Flipside and Tempo Storm. Please do join us.
Join us on April 1st through the 3rd at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Watch the best teams in Counter-Strike Global Offensive go head-to-head for a guaranteed prize pool of $1 million.
He could be able to get this. Got the ace clutch! Shazam!
Teams like Fnatic, Envious, Virtus Pro, and many more will be there. VIP is sold out, so make sure to get your general admission tickets now. Buy your tickets now at mlg.tv/csmajor.